Hey guys, this is Nick with Flamingo Soaps. I'm going to make a soap today, and I thought I would take you with me in the process. So today I'm going to be working with color and trying to create a very bright, vibrant colored soap. And I'm also going to be hot processing the soap today, which is one sort of way to make soap. And I thought I would show you guys how I do it. So I've been experimenting with bright colors a little bit lately, and I've got two other soaps here that I thought I would show you, and then I'll explain the process that I'm going to do today. So I have to flip the camera around here to show you the soaps, so give me 1 second. So a few weeks ago I made this one, this kind of rainbow colored soap. I called it my Pride soap, and it turned out really well. I did all these different colors and swirled them together, and I really like it a lot. It's a lot of fun. It's just a little bit, I would like the colors to be a little bit brighter. So then I was experimenting with hot process a couple of days ago, and I just had this white base, and then I added some color to it, and they turned out a lot more vibrant. So I decided I'm going to work again with this sort of rainbow colored colorants, and rather than have any white base, I'm going to mix color into all of the soap. And we won't get specific swirl designs like in this one. It'll just be a little bit kind of crazy and all over the place like this soap, but I think it should be fun. So let's get started. These are the colorants that I've mixed up. I've kind of wiped them a little bit onto that napkin or paper towel so you can see. One of the big challenges with making soap is getting the colors to turn out right. And purple and orange especially are very hard colors, so I'm kind of blending a little bit of everything here and hoping that the colors will turn out right. So I've got all of my supplies ready and prepared here, so we're ready to get started. So I've blended up all of my oils and my lye in advance in the interest of saving a little bit of time. You might be thinking, whoa, that oil looks weird. So I've added a few things to it. My traditional blend of oils includes olive oil, coconut, and castor oil with cocoa butter. So to that I've added a few things. One is bentonite clay, which is really good for the skin. I've also added a little bit of white colorant to it, which you can't really tell yet, and then some glitter, which is going to actually run throughout the soap. And I find that it's easier to add the glitter to the oil before anything else. That disperses it the best. I've also got my lye water here, which I'm going to add, and you might be thinking, well, the lye water looks strange too. And that's actually because usually you mix the lye with water, but this time I mixed it with pure aloe. I have done that several times now, and I really like how the soap turns out when you add it to aloe rather than water. So that was why it was a little bit darker than usual. So that's it. I will blend this up to a trace, as we call it. And as you can see, this soap is in the crock pot. Hot process soap involves adding a lot of heat to the process. It sort of speeds the soap through the process of turning into soap. So that's why it's in a crock pot. We'll get this blended up and then we'll move on to the next step. So as you can see, as it mixes with the lye, it kind of changes. It'll get a lot thicker. It's got sort of this whitish color now, which is actually my goal since I'm going to be adding so many of the bright colors to it. I wanted it to be a little white to begin with. And we'll just wait until it thickens up. Okay, so as you can see, it's a lot thicker now. It looks almost like pudding. That's kind of the consistency we want. That's what they call a trace, and this is pretty thick. So what we will do now is I've already turned on the heat on the crock pot, and so we will set the lid on it and let it go through the process of saponification, which is turning from oil into soap. and every 15 minutes or so we'll check on it and you'll see how it changes. So that's it. We'll just let it rest now. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes. You can see that the soap is sort of bubbling up on the sides a little bit, and so that's a good thing. You can see how much thicker it is. I'm going to give it a stir here. It's not so easy with one hand, but I'll give it a quick stir and then show you what it looks like once it's blended. Okay, so I've just blended it up a little bit with both hands, and you can see it's much thicker now. It looks a little bit like mashed potatoes, actually. So it's going in the right direction. What we'll do is put the lid back on and wait another 15 minutes or so, and then we'll check it again. Okay, so it's only been about 8 minutes or so, but I actually heard this soap bubbling up. Can you see how full the crock pot is? They say with cold processed soap you never want to walk away from it because you'll get a big disaster if you do. So at this stage a lot of air develops in it, and you just kind of have to stir it down and let it continue to do its thing. This crock pot is not very big. This is sort of the maximum amount of soap that I can make in it. This will make actually I think about 10 bars of soap, which is not bad. But yes, so you always want to keep an eye on it. Anyway, we will put the lid on it and come back to it shortly because we still have a ways to go. Okay, so the soap is ready. I don't know if you can see so well in the camera, but it's got this very waxy look to it. So it's ready. There's several kind of ways to test to make sure that it's cooked long enough. And we are good to go. The only thing you have to consider when you're making hot process soap is the temperature. Certain oils have a low flash point, which is basically when they will evaporate out of your soap. You don't want your soap to be higher than that flash point. So a few minutes ago I took the lid off of the crock pot. I've turned off the heat and I'm just kind of stirring it a little bit so that it can cool down to below the correct flash point. So what I'm gonna do now is add my fragrance. I need both of my hands to do that, but it's kind of not super exciting anyway. I'm going to add my fragrance and then I'm going to sort of remount the camera here so you can watch me blending the colors. I'm going to have to work a little bit quickly. There's this sort of sensitive temperature zone where it's low enough that you can add your fragrances, but it's high enough that you can still mix it before it gets too hard. So we will get going here on this next step. Alright, that's it. We are in the mold. All kinds of swirls going on in here. So now all I need to do is let it cool down completely, which should take a few hours, and we'll cut it. Okay, it's been about 6 hours. My soap has been cooling. I think it's ready to cut now, so it looks really fun. Let me show you here how it looks. That's the one side, and the other side, and that's the top and the bottom. So you can really never tell, you know, what it's gonna look like until you actually cut into it. But I have a good feeling about this. So let's go ahead and cut into it and see what we think. So I'm gonna cut the little end off with my crinkle cutter. That's pretty cool. So that's the first piece, and I'll go ahead and set these here. Let's see. I'm gonna stand here so I can cut them the way I would like. Not bad. I'm into it. Let's see. It's pretty fun.